The first time I saw her, she was standing atop a crystalline ridge overlooking the sulphurous plains of Xyphos 9. Tall, regal, and utterly alien, she bore the unmistakable markings of the Xyphari highborn, a species that had long since turned their backs on interspecies relations. And yet, when she turned her violet gaze upon me, something in my chest tightened. "I have no interest in humans," she said, her voice as smooth as polished obsidian. "Leave." I should have listened. I should have turned around and walked back to my ship. But I didn't. "My name is Lieutenant Adrian Cross, an ambassador from the unified human colonies. My mission was to negotiate trade agreements with the Xyphari, but everyone knew the real challenge lay in getting past the indomitable Lady Vash'tari. She was the Xyphari's most formidable diplomat, an heir to one of their ruling dynasties, and, according to rumors, someone who had never once been swayed by another's affections. In every recorded instance of courtship, she had refused every suitor, Xyphari or otherwise. Some believed she had no interest in companionship at all. Others whispered that she sought something no one could give her. Whatever the truth was, it made my mission all the more impossible. And yet, despite the odds, I found myself drawn to her. Over the weeks, negotiations continued. Our interactions were precise, efficient, and distant, at least on her end. Every time I presented a proposal, she countered it with a measured response, her face an unreadable mask. Every time I attempted a personal conversation, she would cut me off with an arched brow and a simple, "Irrelevant." And yet, there were moments when I caught something beneath the surface. A flicker of hesitation. A glance that lingered a fraction longer than necessary. A tightening of her jaw when I walked away. So I pressed on. One evening, after yet another fruitless day of negotiations, I found her alone in the high gardens of the Xyphari palace. The air was thick with the scent of night-blooming Verathis flowers, their luminous petals casting an eerie glow. "You don't give up easily," she murmured, not turning as I approached. "I've been told it's one of my more endearing qualities." She let out a soft breath, almost a laugh but not quite. "I've met 1,000 suitors," she said. "Warriors, scholars, nobles from worlds you've never heard of. Every single one of them wanted something from me. Power, status, the thrill of taming the untamable." She turned then, her violet eyes piercing through me. "What do you want, Adrian Cross?" I could have answered with diplomacy. I could have given her a carefully constructed lie. Instead, I told her the truth. "You." For the first time, Lady Vash'tari was at a loss for words. She searched my face as if trying to decipher a code that had eluded her for too long. "You do not know me," she finally said, but there was no conviction in her voice. "Then let me." A long silence stretched between us. Then she turned away, not with the cold dismissal I had grown used to, but with something else, something almost fragile. "You are reckless," she murmured. "Reckless men die quickly among my kind. Then I'll have to be careful." For the first time she smiled. Things did not change overnight. There were no grand declarations, no sudden confessions of love. But something shifted between us in the days that followed. Our negotiations grew longer, not because we argued, but because our conversations stretched beyond trade and politics. She began to ask me questions, not about the human colonies but about me. My past, my home, my thoughts on the stars that both our peoples sailed across. I learned about her too. The weight of expectation placed upon her shoulders. The loneliness of being revered but never understood. The fear that if she let someone in, she might lose herself. She had turned away every suitor because none of them had seen her. Not truly. But I did. It was on the eve of our final negotiations that everything nearly fell apart. "You cannot stay," she said, her expression a mask once more. Once our agreement is signed, your mission will be complete. What if I don't want to leave? Her jaw tightened. You are human. Xyphari. Our people will not accept this. I don't care. Then you are a fool. I took a step closer. Maybe. But I'd rather be a fool who tried than a coward who walked away. Her breath hitched. I do not know how to do this. Then let's figure it out together. She hesitated. And then finally she reached for my hand. The galaxy is vast, filled with ancient empires, uncharted worlds, and beings as different as fire and ice. But sometimes, against all odds, two souls find each other and refuse to let go. Lady Vash'tari had turned away every suitor before me. But in the end, it was a single human who made her want more. And she was done running away.